The Great Cannon has attacked a number of websites.
Hey Chris, I heard you have a great story about Great Cannon attacks. Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Thanks. I totally hope it's great. So most people have heard of the Great Firewall, which means that it could browse the internet from within China. You're able to view certain websites, like BBC News, that kind of thing. It's fair enough. But back in 2015, we saw something else for the first time called the Great Cannon. It was all over the news at the time because it was a technology being used to take down a number of websites with massive denial of service attacks. And the way that was working was that if you visited a website which loads some code from a site behind the Great Firewall, so the kind of blocking system, you'd instead be served back a piece of malicious script, which meant that your machine sitting in, say, the United States or here in London, we were then starting to attack other websites. And this meant that millions of people's machines, like potentially me and you, were attacking certain websites that had been set to do. And this was really noticed at the time because one of those sites that was attacked was GitHub. And GitHub is the code-sharing website. It's where the source code for most programs lives these days. And it went down for a bit of time. But somewhat strangely, after 2015 and those attacks in March 2015, the Great Cannon seemed to disappear. But we noticed a couple of weeks ago it seems to have come back again for some other attacks. So people were discussing about how there were some websites used to organize certain protests that were inaccessible, and are suspecting that maybe it was something like the Great Cannon or some other technology being used to take them offline. And we took a look, and we found that actually it was a quite upgraded version of the Great Cannon. So it's being served in the same way. So if you request a website and it happens to be hosted behind the Great Firewall, you're going to be served back some malicious code, and your machine's going to be attacking this protest website. And this would have been affecting millions of people. Anyone that's browsing lots of big websites have been used to attack it. The end result was this website went down for a while. It was interesting to see how they did it. They'd improved the code a bit. So they're trying to evade some of the modern denial of service protections like Cloudflare. They were only partly successful there. And thankfully, though, after a few days, the work that basically had to mitigate that attack, that website came back up online, and now that attack has paused, and the Great Cannon has disappeared again for a while. But we were looking at the code that was used because it's pretty interesting to see, after 4 years, this attack code coming back again. And we found that actually back in 2018, there was another attack, just no one noticed it. And there was a news website that was controversial to the people running the Great Cannon, the Great Firewall. And that had been taken down for the space of about a year. People were attacking it. So it meant that there's something like a 1 in 1,000 chance that if you were accessing certain websites, your machine would then be attacking this news website. So it was quite a subtle attack. It wasn't obvious it was just hitting everyone. It was enough to slow down that website, so you might want to read about their news, but not fast enough that everyone's going to notice it. So it was really interesting to see those kind of subtle attacks. And this is the kind of thing that I guess when you're looking at the Internet Weather Report, you're seeing in the background all the time, just thousands of attacks bouncing back and forth across the Internet. So that's what we saw about the Great Cannon.
This is really interesting. I mean, in this case, use of HTTPS, HTTP, does it make any difference if they're browsing to these websites? It doesn't matter what kind of web browser you're using. Does it make any difference in this case?
Yeah, exactly. If these sites were using HTTP, they wouldn't be able to intercept that traffic. The way it works is pretty interesting. It's a bit buggy too. It's basically massively injecting the routers. So as this has traversed the Internet going across the website, they see your unencrypted HTTP request. They insert back instead that malicious code. Sometimes they get it wrong too, because at this kind of low level, they have to guess the amount of packets they're sending back, that kind of thing. You often get malformed code. But yeah, exactly. HTTPS would have stopped, at least the way they're doing this. Maybe there'd be other ways we could screw with DNS or something. But yeah, encryption here would have saved the day.
There's always something new tactics which needs to be addressed. Somehow we need to come up with solutions to mitigate these.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's interesting as a researcher to see a new attack coming out, but for the people on the receiving end, it's good to find a way to defend against it too.
When you said about DNS, does TTL play any role in this one?
Not that I've seen or I'm aware of. There's a really detailed analysis down at the protocol level by the Citizen Lab guys. Maybe in that paper they talk about that, but not that I'm aware of. They were using, they're trying to find where these machines were sitting, but doing the injection using things like bouncing around the world, but I didn't see if TTL was having any effect.
Users needs to be a little savvy. It's not easy to find out victims to be their part of the DDoS. I think one should not visit questionable websites. That's the best protection.